This essay example, as well as thousands of others, is available in text format on our website for free and without registration. Simply Google Ivy Panda Free Essays.
Introduction. Religion can be organized in various ways. Different religions are structured differently, and thus, a religion can be easily identified from its organization. Due to the differences in organization, spirituality can be divided into churches, sects, and cults. All three have unique features that differentiate them. This paper analyzes the differences between churches, cults, and sects. Differences between churches, sects, and cults. A church is an element of Christianity, the alleged beginning of spirituality. Christians have, therefore, developed the belief that any spiritual organization that defies the beliefs of Christianity is a cult. They also use the term sect to describe the many denominations that branched from the mainstream Christian denomination, Catholic. Cults are movements that develop out of a common devotion to someone and his/her personality or even something. Cults may incorporate features of other religions, but they tend to have a strong foundation in terms of beliefs about someone or something. A sect, on the other hand, is usually used to describe a spiritual organization that is slightly different from the mainstream spiritual organization. Churches are normally legal entities, while their counterparts, cults, and sects, are usually illegal. This is usually the case because governments have not set aside structures for legalizing sects and cults, despite the fact that some of them may be beneficial to the community. Just like cults and sects are put together in terms of the legal aspect, they are normally used indiscriminately. Several people call Jehovah's Witnesses a cult, while others call it a sect. The description of a sect is also variable depending on the person describing it. The sect is thus used by people belonging to a certain mainstream spiritual institution to describe other institutions whose organization is not in conformance with their beliefs. Apart from the common people belonging to a mainstream spiritual institution, the term is also used by the sensationalist press and even governments that are wary of the development of beliefs that do not conform to the mainstream spiritual institution. In most parts of the world, Christianity is the mainstream spiritual institution, and therefore, small spiritual units developing in a given place will either be referred to as sects or cults. Advantages and limitations of spiritual typology. This kind of spiritual typology is very important because it keeps people informed so that they can make wise spiritual choices. For instance, most people will be reluctant to join any spiritual organization that has been classified as a sect or a cult. This is because the two are associated with negative spirituality. However, it is a daunting task to come up with clear-cut distinctions among the three stated religious organizations, especially with cults and sects. Conclusion. While the definition of a sect is not clear-cut, churches and cults have clear definitions. Cults and sects are, however, used to describe negative spirituality. Thus, they are sometimes used interchangeably. The classification of spirituality is important because it draws the line between the various spiritual organizations so that people are aware of the kind of organizations that they can join. Without such classification, people will find themselves in undesirable spiritual organizations without much knowledge. However, the classification has its limitations. For instance, it is difficult to differentiate between cults and sects since they are both associated with negative spirituality and used interchangeably. This essay on religion classification, church, sect, and cults was written and submitted by a student just like you. The Ivy Panda Samples database hosts thousands of works similar to this one, on various subjects. Visit ivypanda.com to find what you are looking for, free of charge.